In this section, I'm going to introduce 3 common operations we might want to perform on a linked structure: displaying it, adding an element, and removing an element. You'll notice here I'm back in front of BlueJ, and in fact I also have a little paint window open here as well. My plan for this section is to actually go through here and code kind of examples of this stuff from scratch. If you want, you can go and look in the book and look in the slides, and it'll give you kind of a verbal description of how you do this stuff. Right now, what I want to do is go through the act of coding these operations from scratch. On the top, I still have the person class we started typing out last time, so let's actually just build on that. First thing I want to do is kind of go back and remind you guys about array access. So let's do let's finish up person really quick, and then let's take a look at what it means when we say, oh, let's create an array of person objects. So let's first finish up this class. The first thing I need is just to have a constructor, right? So I can populate the things inside there with data. So let me bring in a couple of things here. I'll bring in 2 strings, right, for my name and my address. That should be good enough. Let me use good style here. I'm going to jump back up and put these in as private. We should always have our variables as private. So let's go here, and then I need to initialize stuff. So I'll just set up my member variables really quick. So we'll go address and name. Got those set up. And then also let me put in here let's do a toString, so that we can easily kind of see what's going on in our program. And I'll make this again really simple. So let's just return, let's say name plus address. Or actually maybe let me go in here. Let's make this look a little bit nicer. I'll put in an @ symbol. So so-and-so lives at this address. So this is going to be my simple class. So let's say I wanted to create an array of this object. Well, the first thing I need to do is actually put in my main method. So let's do that. The first thing I need to do is create an array. And you guys have already seen this syntax. So this is where we use kind of the brackets, right, to say, oh, I'm creating not just a person object, but an array of persons. And let's just say, we'll call this people. And we'll just say, okay, new person bracket, let's put in there 2, right? I'm going to create 2 people. Since I'm using an array here, it's really easy for me to access the information side of it. Let's say I want to put in 2 people, A and B. So let's say, let's go people of 0, right? Meaning go to the first place in this array. Let's go equal to new person. And I'll call this person just A, and we'll say lives at 123 East. And we can go and do this again, right? So let's say we go to the second slot in that array, index 1, right? And we go in there and we put in a new person as well. We can go B, and let's just put them on 324 West. So this is the code I would need to write if I wanted to create an array with 2 people. Looks like we got a compile error there. Let me just fix that really quick. Here, you'll see me jumping up to the corner to do a compile and make sure my syntax is good. There we go. So this here, right, is a simple program that makes 2 people and puts them into an array. And it's very kind of easy to do this, right? To assign a person into an array. And we could even display this, right? So let's do this really quick. We'll use a for loop just for practice, right? There's actually an easy way to do that, but let's just use a for loop. So I have a for loop. I need to have an iterator name there. For loop will say I equals 0, right? That's going to be I is going to be my index, right? That goes through and touches every element in that array. And then I'll have kind of my condition, right? So I needs to be less than people.length, right? How many people are stored in that array. And then each time, right, I'll have I increased by 1, right? So I is going to walk upwards slowly. And then over here, right, I could write something like system.out.println people of I. Right, so if I've written that correctly, what that'll do is it'll loop through every element in that person or that people array and print out whoever's there. So let's try running this. Let's see what we get. A lives at 123 East. B lives at 234 West. So this is what we have right now, right? We have arrays. We can populate them with data. We can print them out. We can do some other operations on them. The issue, right, that we're trying to address, though, is we can't actually add people, right? So if I type something like this, people of 2 equal... Let me just copy that. Let's say that C lives at the same address. If I try something like this, it'll compile, but when I try to run it, I will get an exception. Array out of bounds exception, right? This isn't good. So my array has this fixed size that I need to make sure that I adhere to, right? I can't add things. And I can't really shrink things either, right? It's always going to have 2 spaces in there, right? If it turns out I don't have any people in my system, right, I'm still going to have that array being allocated, right? It'll still have all the storage for 2 people, right? I can't change it whatsoever. The way we can address this is by using something called linked structure, or really what you'll hear a lot is linked list.